game.
Welcome to another video, and I don't even know where to start with this one. This 100 kill game with the Selbstlader semi-automatic rifle was an absolutely crazy one. It's probably my fastest ever 100 kill game, and you will know, I always say, if you want to be on track and on time for a 100 kill game, I always say you need to be around the 50 kill mark or hit that 50 kill mark when you get to that 30-minute mark of the game. So after 15 minutes I've been gone, and at the 30-minute mark of this game I was on 90 kills, and this was using a Selbstlader semi-automatic assault rifle which has 3 shots to kill on underground against obviously all the typical ZKs, Type 2As, shotguns. So I literally cannot believe what I did, but there's so many different types of clips in here, and really longer length clips, because I just wasn't dying. Like I said, the game is 118 to 8, and I was just tearing through absolutely everything, and so that's what you're going to be seeing in the video today. If you want to see the specializations which I have chosen for this gun, and again, as always, look at the playlists which I've made on the homepage or in the playlist section, and I'll give my opinion on all the best specializations for all the guns in the game. And of course, the site I've gone for is the Reflex site, or the NIDAR site. Never know which one it is, but it's that one, the one you can see. This is the one which I prefer to go with over the 3x scope or the iron sight, simply because the visual recoil is most manageable with this sight compared to the 3x, although the 3x scope may be a much better option on bigger maps such as Rotterdam. The Reflex sight is certainly the best one to go for on a close quarters map like Underground. And the iron sight is a bit, even though it's got more zoom, which is what I prefer, the iron sight isn't that clean and does block quite a lot of the enemy when you're trying to track and shoot moving targets. Now, talking about the Selbstlader, it's a very underrated gun, and it's a gun which you won't see many people use at all, because there are some other options which are arguably better, such as the M1 carbine or the Gewehr 1.5. However, the Selbstlader comes in with a very good 26 rounds in its magazine, with a decent reload time, and overall, in comparison against the M1 carbine and the Gewehr 1.5, it packs more of a punch, therefore doing more damage at range and having less of a damage drop off at range, and so you can maintain that 3 shots to kill at a much longer distance than you can the M1 carbine or the Gewehr 1.5. The recoil is much more manageable and easier to control in comparison to the Gewehr 1.5. And obviously, therefore, you want to use the Gewehr 1.5 more aggressively. It also has the light in stock option, but the Selbstlader therefore is much more better at long range. And in comparison to the M1 carbine, obviously the M1 carbine is a carbine, so it fires not as big a rounds, and therefore it does less damage and has more damage drop off at range. So, you know, it's got its pros, it's got its cons, but overall, when used correctly, it can be an absolute monster and a beast, as you'll see in this game. Now, I don't want to always be, you know, the player who's always standing there leaning on one spot all the time. However, you are going to see me do this a lot. Either way, it's good practice to do, no matter what gun you're using, because, you know, it's going to keep you alive longer. You're exposing the least amount of your body as possible. But I am using a gun which takes 3 shots to kill at the body, and therefore, you know, on Underground in close quarters against really high time to kill weapons, you've got to utilize leaning in order to stay alive and win gunfights. But the fact that this gun has 26 rounds in its magazine is massive, especially in comparison to some of the other semi-autos. For example, the Gewehr 43, which is arguably one of, if not the best, semi-automatic guns in the game. That's only got a 10 to 11 round box magazine. So, you know, the Selbstlader has a massive ammo capacity in comparison to most of the semi-automatic guns in the game. And this means that when I'm leaning around a corner, you know, I've got a massive ammo capacity to be able to unload on multiple enemies and take on loads of enemies at once, and I don't have to reload therefore as often, and therefore do not have to be killed as much or be caught out while reloading all the time, because I've always got, you know, much higher ammo capacity and can choose better times to reload when it's safe to do so. And therefore the magazine size is the main reason why this gun is so good, and why it excels on a map such as Underground, where you're always going to encounter large groups of enemy, and are therefore going to need to have that firepower and ammo capacity to be able to take on the majority of those enemies. If you look at this gun's potential for taking out the maximum amount of kills it possibly can in terms of body shots and headshots when firing against enemies that are at full health, being 100 health. It takes 3 shots to kill if you're going for a body shot, which means with the 26 bullets in the gun, this means you can get around 9 kills per full magazine if you were to hit every single shot on body shots at full health enemies. And of course, if you're going for headshots, it's 2 headshots to kill, which is going to be a maximum potential of 13 kills with the gun. And of course, you're going to be aiming and shooting at some enemies which are lower than 100 health, so the maximum, you can always get even higher maximum potential amount of kills with the gun. And not only that, this gun is also very good in comparison to a lot of other semi-automatic rifles, such as the AGM, because this gun will not take just 2 shots to the head to kill. You can actually get 1 body shot and 1 headshot, which will therefore get the kill. So you don't have to hit 2 bullets on the head. So if you're aiming for the chest with this gun, you can fire the first round on the chest, and if the recoil bounces up to the head, then you're going to hit the headshot straight away, and you're going to get quite a lot of 2-shot kills with this gun, even though typically it takes 3 kills to the body. Now, there's not much else to say about this gun, really. It's all around a very good gun. At close range and at really, really long ranges, it can struggle quite a bit. But as long as in close range, you are always leaning, as well as at long range, taking your time to just make sure you're not going at the maximum fire rate all the time, just making sure you're hitting individual shots. This gun can be one of the best guns in the game for you. But getting into the second half of this video, I'm now going to talk just a little bit about what I am doing in particular in this game to stay alive and obviously find and maximize my most potential amount of kills. And in the clip you can see here, we're taking back B flag at the center, and we're now going to push back towards A. I'm going to always try to use the tunnels and everything on the right side here to begin with before we get close to A flag, and that is simply because in there's so many different, all the different beds and bunks or whatever you want to call them, and there's plenty of cover to use and to lean around, and so that's much better when going for the middle tunnel or the left tunnel where the train tracks are, simply because there's so many straight lines of sight there for snipers that are sitting at the back, and you can just get easily killed, or people who just sit on the corners waiting for you. So down this way you've got loads of cover, and you've got multiple different pathways you can go down. Even if you're using a long range weapon, the cover still means you're able to use it and take on those close range weapons which enemies are going to be using. Now, most people here are going to go back down the right side. However, going down the middle, right here where I'm going now, is actually probably one of the most safest and best ways to get a lot of kills. And of course, if you push through the middle of this part, there's plenty of cover here on the left, as you can see, and on the right. You can slide over to the left again. Of course, there's always going to be someone sat there on the Vickers machine gun, but still, you just wait for them to stop firing or to overheat the gun, and you can always just push in and out of the cover on the left or the right. And the further you do push up, the more safe you're actually going to be, even though this whole hallway is massive. The hot spot in the entire map for people to just throw explosives everywhere. The further you do push in, the safer you're going to be, because all the enemies think you're at the back end of the tunnel, and that's where they're going to be throwing all their rocket launchers and their grenades. So like I said, the further you push in, the better you're going to be off. And you can see there, we get rewarded there with like 5-6 kills within 1 magazine. And it just shows the firepower that this gun brings, and how valuable those 26 rounds really are. Now I'm just pushing forward here just a little bit, just to pick off a few kills, but I'm never ever really going to push through this way unless I can see on the minimap it is completely clear, and of course I have teammates on the other side as well, so I know it's going to be clear. I'm always, when I get to this point in the map, when I'm attacking their spawn flag of A, I'm always going to push all the way to this left side, one, because it's the most open, and again, it's got good cover. There's a few boxes in the middle, on the left and on the right. It's got a massive opening in front, and it's got that doorway on the left, which if you get in, you can use and lean around for cover on the left or the right. So overall, this left side is going to be the best option to find kills, stay alive using cover, and it's going to be the most likely place where you're going to be able to get through and flank all the enemies which are covering the middle tunnel and the tunnel on the right. But also, you're going to see I'm going to be a bit reluctant to push all the way through until I know that obviously my team are pushing through as well. I haven't got a very close quarters aggressive gun to be able to slide around and challenge all the enemies that are waiting on the other side. We've got both the flags, the enemies have only got one. The enemies are the ones who are trying to push in to capture B flag, and so, you know, I don't need to push all the way through and flank them and kill them all. One, again, because the game's going to end early if we capture their home flag, and it's going to drain their tickets really quick. Two, the enemies want to come to me, so it's perfect. I've got the cover, I've got the semi-automatic long-range gun, which is perfect for where I am right now. You know, I've basically got the advantage in every way here, and by not pushing as well, the game is going to last longer, the tickets aren't going to drain as fast, and that's going to be much more likely for me to then hit the 100 kill game and get more kills within the time which the game is played. So when I do finally manage to push through though and get onto the enemy spawn flag of A, I'm typically going to run up this left side here, and I'm going to stand against that truck which is in front of me, and I'll give you plenty of cover then to shoot all the enemies which will come behind you. Typically they're going to look straight down to your teammates pushing through from the main mid map, so they're not going to look at you standing behind the truck. And the truck also gives you perfect cover to shoot at anyone who's up in the ruins of the building, you know, across in the spawn as well. But yeah, that's pretty much going to cover it for this game. I couldn't believe I managed to hit 90 kills by that 30-minute mark, and then again hitting 118 kills in total within only a 20-minute game, which is the fastest I've ever done. And it's a bit disappointing that the game didn't last even longer, because this could easily have been a 150 plus game, being my highest kill record on Underground Conquest, using obviously non-meta weapons. But yeah, this is what it is, and hopefully you've enjoyed. If you have, please smash a like. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already and you are a regular viewer of the channel, and yeah, leave a comment on anything you want to see, any new videos that you might want me to see do. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed, and I will see you on the next one.